Hey, so how's it going? It's Wednesday, and I just got out of classes, and I'm exhausted, and I had to carry books about a half a mile in the rain from the bookstore because I had to go pick them up today because I have homework due tomorrow that I need the books for. So, they're fucking heavy. Books are effing heavy. If you're in high school, build up your muscles because by the time you get to college, you're gonna need them. So, one of my friends, Jazz, who I love but have not seen for a while, but love, like I want to hang out with you more, um, sent me a message on YouTube and asked me um, a bunch of questions to put in a video to give my feedback on. And I was like, those are really good questions. I'm gonna answer them. They're very good questions. And so the first question is. Oh, and her YouTube is Jasmine Monroe. JasmyneMonroe. I will link it below. So her first question is, how young do you think a child could know that they are LGBT? I think that it depends on the person. Each person knows at a different time. I know people who did not know till their 20s. Knew something was different all their life, but did not know till their 20s. I know people that knew all their life, knew from the second they were out of the womb who they were, they knew it. And I've known people who came out as 16, 17, 18-year-olds, I think everyone needs to have it in their own time. That being said, especially with the transgendered portion of the community, everybody always says that you can't know for sure if you're transgender until you've gone through puberty. And that is not true. I have met prepubescent transgendered people on Tyra. In her last season, she had a little girl on there who was transgendered. And she told her, because she asked her when she knew. And she told her, well, before I couldn't talk, and so I couldn't tell people that I was a girl. And then after I started talking, I told people I was a girl. And so, like, that's got to be proof right there that kids can know from the very beginning. And as our society becomes more accepting, they're going to know sooner and sooner. And there's a bunch of those ads out there that's like, don't confuse me, don't call me this. It's like a bunch of Republican shit. Like really right-wing Republican. There's some moderate Republicans who I respect and are very for our community. And so I respect them. And some that are moderate that are for our community to a point, and that I respect as well. But there are Republicans like Santorum and Michelle Bachmann and Rick Perry who take it to a whole nother level. They take it to a whole, sorry, that's my phone. They take it to a whole nother level where they're just being mean and rude. And I don't accept that from anyone. I don't accept rudeness on any level. So it's not the fact that they're Republicans I don't like them. It's their policies that I don't like and their attitudes that I don't like. And so I think you can know at any age. I think it's getting more acceptable to know younger. I know friends that are preteens. I know people preteens that just know. Like, they know that they have an attraction to the same sex, or they know that they're not in the right body, and they're completely comfortable with that. The second question is, when did you know that you were bisexual? I knew something was different with me all my life. I knew that I was a little off from everybody because I wasn't really popular, and I was really awkward, and I didn't have any friends. Like, I had maybe 2 all throughout middle school. I had a couple in elementary school that were really good friends, and we're still really good friends, and I love them. But yeah, there's just some thing about the time I turned 14. I learned the vocabulary for it. I always say that I've known I was different all my life. I just learned the vocabulary. It just took me 14 years to learn the vocabulary for it. I didn't even know bisexuals existed. I didn't know that they were out there. I didn't know anything about it. And so, I educated myself and I read stories and everything, and I was like, that is me. That is exactly how I am. That is exactly what I feel. And I was scared of that. But it was solid for me in 8th grade. Again, when I was about 14, but it was at the end of 8th grade, and I just moved to Indiana, back to Indiana, and I fell in love with my best friend. Like, she was the most beautiful, wonderful, talented, amazing person, and I fell completely head over heels for her. Shut up, phone. So, yeah, I fell completely head over heels for her, and so I just accepted it at that point. I was like, there's nothing I can do about it, obviously, because I can't control my feelings for this girl. I want to be with her all the time, and I know everything about her, and she knows everything about me, and I'm just completely head over heels for her. And that didn't happen again until about sophomore year of high school, when I met one of my other best friends, and like, I know that we're friends, and so we could never date because it would complicate everything, and I wouldn't want to lose the friendship that we have. And so I would never, ever, like, confront her with my feelings because she's so wonderful, and I would rather have her as a friend than nothing at all. So, but that didn't happen again for a couple of years. So, like, it was complicated. It's complicated when you figure out who you are. It really is. Because you want to accept it, but you want everyone else to accept it too. And so, but the first thing you have to do is accept it yourself. Because if you don't, it's just going to complicate your life, and you're just going to hit the depression wall like I did. And depression sucks. I still have it from time to time. Like, those feelings still come back. You never get completely over depression. You just learn to ignore it and move on and kind of focus on the happy things in your life, and that makes it go away. For as long as it'll go away, that makes it go away. And then sometimes it just hits again. But everybody goes through those phases, you know. Okay, the third question is, would you ever date a trans man, like a transgendered man? Which I'm assuming is a female to male transgendered. Um, yeah, I'm pretty much open to dating anybody. However, there are those things that take a toll on a relationship that you have to consider when dating someone who's transgendered. There's the, well, first off, the sex. Like, that's gonna complicate it a little bit. But I know people, like, I've heard stories of trans men who have gone on to marry women, and the women don't care that they're pre-op. Like, they really don't. It was on Mari one time, and Mari's like, well, he's not a full man. Are you okay with that? And she's like, he is a man. He's a man to me, and I love him. So, yes, I'm okay with everything about him. And so, there are those issues that you have to address in the beginning, or at least, you know, in the relationship, eventually you're going to have to address these things. But I'm pretty much open to those. I'm open to most people. Fourth question. Do you know many transgendered people? Transgender individuals? I do. I know several. I want to say 5. All different kinds. I know a couple genderqueer people too, which it's not the same thing, so don't start thinking it is. It's totally different things, and you can Google it. Because it's really complicated to explain, and I'm just gonna tell you to Google it. Genderqueer. Just Google it. I know a lot of them because I do go to IYG, and there are several that go to IYG. And then there are several cross-dressers, which are different. There's just men who like to dress as women. And it's an art form, and it's beautiful. I don't know if you've ever been to a drag show. It's the most impressive thing ever. Because out of their makeup, they're very manly looking out of their makeup. And then in their makeup and their costumes and their wigs and their wonderfulness, like Chris Crocker, boy, looks like a girl. Beautiful, makes a beautiful woman, makes a very handsome man, makes a beautiful woman as well. You know, he's a prime example. So yeah, I know several, and I love them. They're all fantastic. Um, 5. How do you think society perceives trans men and trans women? I think 10 years ago, it was almost unacceptable. I think about the time my generation was born, the early 90s, I think no one knew anything about it. And I think it was something that wasn't portrayed in the media and wasn't portrayed anywhere. It was a very hush hush thing. And if you did that, usually your family disowned you. Nowadays, like I said, we have transgender children. Like, there are families that are so progressive and love their children so much that they want them to be who they are. So I think there's progression. I think we've had some progression, but I don't think we're there yet because a prime example is right after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, there was a military, I want to say a sergeant, and she was kicked out of the military because she was transgendered. And she was also a lesbian. They didn't care about the lesbian thing because it was after the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And so, I'm going to put my phone over here. I'm sorry about this. And so it was repealed after Don't Ask, Don't Tell was repealed. And so they couldn't do anything about the lesbian thing. They found out she was transgendered. They looked up, there was something in her medical file about surgery, and they looked up the surgery, and they found out she was transgendered, and they kicked her out because Don't Ask, Don't Tell didn't protect transgendered people from transgendered or intersex people from being kicked out of the military. It only protected lesbians and gays. Lesbian, gay, and bisexual. And so, like, I think in a Republican-led country, in a very right-wing country as of right now, we have a Democratic president, but we have a very right-wing Congress. And they're the ones who actually have control over everything. The president makes the final call, but they really have all the control. And so in a country like that, and with so many Republican states, and right-wing states and very conservative states, including Indiana, even though Lugar is very moderate and is very for everything LGBT, he's very supportive. And he's very for government taking care of its people type moderate. But he just agrees with more of the Republican basis on a lot of things, which is how I am. I'm Democratic, but I'm very moderate but I agree with most of the things on the Democratic platform, but I'll listen to either side. So if you would like to make a debate, I would welcome that. So, let me know. So I think it's becoming more acceptable, but I don't think it's there yet. There have been so many people who've lost their lives just because they are transgendered, and it's completely, for lack of better words, it's completely fucked up. There's just no way that this could happen in 2012, but it does. You remember late 2010, all those suicides? I remember them. I remember where I was when I heard about each single one of them. I remember because that's the reason I started an anti-bullying club at my school and tried to get Challenge Day there, because I wanted something to prevent this. I wanted this to not happen to one of my friends. And I wanted people to become aware of it. No, this isn't just something that happens in different states. It happens in Indiana too. We lost one. And he was only, I believe he was 15. I believe it was Billy Lucas. And he was only about 15. I can't imagine someone killing themselves at 15. There was an 11-year-old who shot himself. And no one gave a damn until after it happened. If someone had given a damn beforehand. Come on now. And then there was that one a few months ago in New York. And then right after that, Santorum brings his campaign to New York and starts putting up posters against the LGBT community. And I'm just like, he doesn't have a heart. That's why I'm urging everyone not to vote for him, because he doesn't have a heart. It's not just his policies, he doesn't have a heart. Okay, I've kind of ranted a little bit on that question. But yeah, I think it's becoming more acceptable, but I don't think we're where we need to be in anything in the LGBT community. We're not where we need to be. And I'm hoping by the time I'm out of college, which is going to be another 5 years or so, I'm hoping that by the time I am out of school, or by the time I have a family, which is going to be another 15 years or so, by the time that happens, I am praying to God, because I'm a Christian, and I'm praying to God and hoping with every bit of my heart that we have some progression, because we need it. It's ridiculous and we need it. Number 6 is, would you ever date a trans woman? Again, yeah, I'm open to most things. Just because I date people. That's why I think that's what is in the root of the bisexual community, is we date people. We don't date sexual organs. We love people, not sexual organs. I could care less what's in your pants. I could care less what size it is. I could care less what it looks like. You can always, there's always everything to fix your sex life. You can always get a better sex life. And if anything, there's always open relationships. There's people that mesh emotionally but don't mesh sexually. And so they have open relationships. And I'm not saying I'm for open relationships. Like, I'm for it if it works for you. I've never tried one, so I don't know if it works for me. But I'm just saying, like, there are those options. And so I think with a trans woman, pre-op or post-op, it doesn't really matter to me. Pre-op, there are those, again, like, the moral support that has to be there. And there's the understanding that it's going to be complicated for a while. And the understanding that society is going to not approve. Some of society is not going to approve, if not most of society is not going to approve. And so you have to be prepared for that. You have to be emotionally prepared for that. 7, if a trans person is talking to a person they like, when or should the person tell the other person that they are transgendered? That is a really good question. I have to think. Hold on. I think with anything big like that in a relationship, like with sexuality, especially if you're bisexual, if you're like pansexual or something, with sexual or asexual even, you can come out in the beginning and find out. But with transgender, there's a little bit of more of a taboo than being gay. It's a bit more of a taboo in society than being gay. So I think that there would have to be a moment where you discuss these issues. And it's so much in the news right now that you could just bring it up in regular conversation and figure out what the other person thinks about the issue as a whole, about LGBT as a whole. And then you could focus it a little bit. And then if they're not supportive, maybe you just need to end it. Like, you need to figure out if they're supportive or not, and then you need to end it. If they are supportive, maybe tell them and then see if they really are supportive. Because a lot of people are like, oh no, I love gay people, or I love transgendered people. And then they find out that you are one, and they're like, oh, this is weird, and I don't like you anymore, and I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And so it happens all the time. It's happened to me multiple times. I'm so thankful that my friends here at college, they just, because I came out in my It Gets Better video to them because I really hadn't had a chance to tell them yet because I didn't know how to approach it. And, like, they told me, like, I told them, and they told me that, no, they loved me. They were my friends, and they loved me. And so I think you need to build the relationship a bit, but to be honest, before it gets to the sexual level, you're gonna have to tell them, especially if you're pre-op. If you're post-op, you could go your whole life without telling them, but eventually they're gonna meet your parents and they're gonna see your baby pictures. So, unless you've burned all your baby pictures, like, they're gonna find out eventually. Someone in your family's gonna tell them, and when you'd rather them hear it from you, wouldn't you? Like, don't pull some Jerry Springer shit and take them on TV. That's stupid. So yeah, I think it's gonna have to be a gradual thing. I think you're gonna have to bring up the issue and then come out. And do it in a private setting. Do it in a very private setting. Not on a date, not in public. Have a movie night, or have him or her over for dinner or something very private, and then do that. So, those are my answers to those questions. If you guys have any more questions that you'd like answered, please submit them and I will get to them. And I love you guys, and I'll see you later. Bye.